fund. Before we take a look at your stories in detail, here's a look at your headlines.
India and Japan to assist Sri Lanka. Prime Minister discusses about extending the debt moratoriums given to companies and individuals owing to COVID-19. CBSL to issue dollars through commercial banks for the importation of essential commodities. Prime Minister's office says no decision made to increase salaries of state sector employees.
Starting off with your top story at his office.
The Prime Minister's office stated that the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance as well as the Governor of the Central Bank were present at the meeting. The Prime Minister inquired at length about the problems faced by the country's banking system in the face of the current economic crisis. The Prime Minister's office reported that the Prime Minister inquired from the heads of the banks regarding issues such as the dollar deficit and credit expansion as well as the amount of savings. Discussions were also focused on extending the grace period which was given to companies and individuals to repay loans due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Prime Minister has instructed the Central Bank to bring the Samruddhi banking system under full supervision of the Central Bank.
During a discussion between the importers of essential commodities and the Governor of the Central Bank, the CBSL has agreed to issue dollars through commercial banks for the importation of essential commodities.
The Governor of the Central Bank has also instructed the importers to stop using the supplier credit facility which was used by importers of essential commodities when ordering the goods. The Governor of the Central Bank has stated that dollars will be issued through commercial banks as an alternative. Meanwhile, Minister of Commerce and Consumer Protection Nalin Fernando stated that steps will be taken to submit a report to the Central Bank regarding containers containing essential goods that are currently stranded at the port. The Minister further stated that steps have been taken to submit the relevant report to the Central Bank expeditiously.
India and Japan have agreed to work together on assisting Sri Lanka amidst the current economic crisis. The agreement was reached following a meeting between Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida in Tokyo.
Narendra Modi and Fumio Kishida met on the sidelines of the Quad Summit and held bilateral talks on close cooperation to promote efforts to realize a free and open Indo-Pacific. Following the meeting, Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the leaders discussed the situation in Sri Lanka and confirmed that they will cooperate with each other in light of the current economic crisis and deterioration of humanitarian situation in the country.
The Prime Minister's Media Division states that the Prime Minister has not taken a decision to increase the salaries of public sector employees. Issuing a statement, the Prime Minister's media said the upcoming interim budget will reduce the allocations to all ministries except for the Ministry of Health and Education. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation says another stock of crude oil will be unloaded in the country today. Previously, there was a delay in unloading the stock of crude oil due to the inability to make the necessary payments.
Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara stated, with the arrival of the stock of crude oil, operations at the Sapugaskanda oil refinery can be recommenced in 6 days. Operations at the Sapugaskanda oil refinery commenced after the 20th of March. According to the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, steps have been taken to distribute diesel and petrol to filling stations immediately. In a tweet, the Minister of Power and Energy, Kanchana Wijesekara, has published the amount of fuel reserves in the country by 8:30 a.m. Accordingly, the warehousing terminal and other warehouses of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation possesses 20,598 metric tons of diesel, 1,778 metric tons of super diesel, 42,750 metric tons of octane 92 petrol, and 6,597 metric tons of octane 95 petrol. In addition, in a tweet, the minister has noted that there are 3,104 metric tons of kerosene is also available.
Meanwhile, a reduction in the number of fuel queues have been reported in Colombo and its suburbs recently. However, our correspondent stated that long queues were reported in Kandy, Galle, Badulla and several other parts of the island.
Several petrol stations in Kandy were closed this morning due to the fuel shortage. Meanwhile, long queues were seen near petrol stations in Kandy. Filling stations in Badulla did not have diesel today. However, there were long queues of vehicles, including buses, waiting to obtain diesel. After many days, the filling station in the Galle town had received kerosene today. The filling station will issue 50 litres of kerosene per fishing vessel and kerosene worth 500 rupees to domestic households.
A fuel transport bowser met with an accident on Dabulla main road near the Kurunegala town at 3 a.m. this morning. According to our correspondent, the bowser was carrying 13,200 litres of petrol from Colombo to Kinnia. Gas company says it will not distribute domestic gas cylinders until Sunday. Its chairman Vijitha Herath stated that a gas consignment will arrive in Sri Lanka this Sunday. He said plans have been made to redistribute domestic gas cylinders from Monday. Gas chairman has requested the public not to wait in queues for gas until the distribution begins. People were seen in queues to purchase gas cylinders in several areas, although Gas Company Limited continue to request the public to refrain from staying in queues.
Meanwhile, people have been waiting in long queues to obtain kerosene as domestic cylinders have not been released to the market for the past 5 days. People in Orapuatta in Galle were seen standing in queues opposite a gas distribution centre.
The protest organized opposite the President's office in Colombo enters its 49th day today. People from all corners of Sri Lanka are taking part in the protest, demanding the resignation of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. We now been joined by Newsfirst Nisal Suryarachi with the latest update.
The Gotagogama Golf Face Aragalya has been in operation for 49 consecutive days, and it consists of the general public, volunteers, as well as war veterans who are disabled soldiers who are here for 49 continuous days. What they are demanding is for the president to resign, and they are saying that they will be here till the president resigns.
The protest next to the President's office in Colombo commenced at a time the people took to the streets against the rising cost of living. The people demanded the resignation of the government led by the President. How did these protesters, who sacrificed their time and energy to stand up on behalf of all Sri Lankans, treat one another at the protest site? The kitchen, which started with just one cooker and a cylinder, is now housed inside a container. They cook 50 kilograms of rice every day. There is no qualified cook to work in this kitchen. Everyone who arrives at the protest site can lend a hand to cook and provide food to those protesting.
මේක ඉතාම ක්‍රමිකව ගොඩනගාගත් ක්‍රියාවලියක්. මේකේ මුල් අදියරේ අපිට ඉතාම අභියෝගාත්මක වුණා. මොකද අපිට හරියාකාර ටෙන්ට් එකක්වත් තිබුණේ නැහැ. අපි ටිකල වලින් ආවරණය කරපු බැනර්ස් වලින් ආවරණය කරපු ටෙන්ට් එක තමයි අපේ ගබඩාව පවත්වගෙන ගියේ. ප්‍රජාමූල මුළුතැන් ගෙයක් විදිහට ඉතාම සාර්ථකව මේ මුළුතැන් ගෙය ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා.
A media briefing to create awareness on the issues faced by the livestock sector amidst the fuel crisis was held in Kurunegala today.
As of today, given the fuel crisis, the livestock industry is facing many difficulties. The fuel and economic crisis have affected many aspects, including the liquid milk industry, production of eggs and poultry. We would like to point out to the government that the country will face a huge food shortage in the coming future. When there are power outages, we cannot store milk inside refrigerators. We have no option but to throw away the milk in the morning. We have to obtain milk again in the morning. The amount of milk sold will reduce. The livestock development officers knows who we are. He gives us the letter. Allow us to collect fuel from filling stations when we produce that letter.
Can පුරවන්න ඉවෙන් කරලා දෙන්න. අපේ තනකොළ කපන මැෂින් එකේ පෙට්‍රල් ටික ඉවර වෙච්චාම අපි ආයේ මැෂින් එක කරේ තියාගෙන යන්න බෑනේ. එතනට පෙට්‍රල් ටික පුරව ගන්න. ඉන්ධන ටික ගන්න කියලා අපි පොලිමිද්දි සතා බඩගින්නේ සම්පූර්ණයෙන්.
Convening a media briefing, the Nachadua farmers organization spoke about the difficulties faced due to the fuel and fertilizer crisis.
If relief is provided, it should have been given within this month. If it is not provided to us before the 15th, there is no point of cultivating. The fields will get infected. They are asking a letter from the farmers organization requesting 20 liters of diesel for farmers. When we produce the letters to filling stations, they do not separate fuel for us. Not every filling station has fuel.
Centre for Policy Alternative, in a letter to the Inspector General of Police, says it is concerned about slow progress of investigation and other actions with regard to attacks against peaceful protesters on the 9th of May 2022 and other incidents of violence involved. CPA points out that imperative and urgent action must be taken while law using urgent enforcement authorities to investigate and adhere to the instructions of the Attorney General to arrest these individuals. CPA says that law should be applied to all equally. The French government has donated a stock of anesthetic to Sri Lanka. Ministry of Health Kehelia Rambukwala stated that these drugs will be sufficient for 3 months.
The health minister stated that despite the shortage of certain medicines in hospitals, patient care services are being managed in an efficient manner. A program is also underway to expedite the supply of medicines currently in short supply in the hospital system. He said that several institutions, including the Asian Development Bank and the World Bank, have also held discussions regarding this matter. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health stated that a report on the shortage of medicines in hospital has been submitted to the Prime Minister's office.
A meeting of all party leaders representing Parliament under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe will be held today.
Minister of Justice, President's Council Vijayadasa Rajapaksa stated that the views and suggestions of the party leaders regarding the 21st Amendment Bill will be sought. He further stated that the ideas and proposals obtained will be submitted to the Cabinet next week.
The proposals of the National People's Power of the 21st Amendment to the Constitution were presented by the party leader Anurakumara Disanayaka today.
We are expecting to propose a series of recommendations for the 21st Amendment to the Constitution. The first one being parliamentarians who cross over parties can be removed from their positions. The second one is the power of the presidential pardon has to be limited to a certain extent. Third, the president must not have opportunities to hold ministerial portfolios. There should be obstacles for dual citizens to hold high-ranking positions in the government. Secretaries to ministries must be appointed through the Constitutional Council. Moreover, the Bribery Commission and the CID should have powers to carry out investigations into income statements of the public representatives and complaints filed with regards to that. Since the current Prime Minister and the Parliament has no constitutional or moral right to hold authority, a new opportunity must be given for the people to express their mandate to select a new Prime Minister and a Parliament through this 21st Amendment. Therefore, the time period of this Parliament must be limited.
The Colombo Magistrates Court today sentenced Shashi Veeravansa to 2 years in prison, submitting false information to obtain a passport. The Colombo Magistrates, Buddhika Sri Ragala, ordered for a fine of 100,000 rupees. An additional 6 months of imprisonment fine is not paid. Another phase of the Divisavya program to distribute dry rations among families in need is underway in the Ratnapura district today. Program entered its 17th day.
The Divi Savya program, sponsored by LOLC Holdings, aims to support low-income families in many parts of Sri Lanka. Dry rations were distributed to people living in 8 Gram Nildari divisions in the Ratnapura district today. Under the Divi Savya program, essential goods are being distributed to low-income families who are facing serious financial difficulties.
Police said that the gunman who attacked a primary school in Texas on Tuesday was able to enter the building unobstructed.
Texas Ranger Victor Escalon said no armed guard challenged the teenage attacker and it is unclear if the school door was even locked. Escalon defended the police response.
To an end of lunchtime news here on TV1. For more of these stories, you can log on to our website, which is www.newsfirst.lk. For the Newsfirst team, I am Razi Irfan. Thank you for watching.